Going on, everyone? How's everyone doing? Monday morning. Let's get after it. Let's give it a minute before we get started here. Anyone do anything good this weekend? What's up, everyone? Hope everyone's having a good morning. Drag. That ain't bad. It was good. It was definitely good. All right. Today is day 23 over 2+ hours of trading education a day. That's amazing. Charles, a question for you now. Have you seen a big improvement from day one? I'm curious to see or to hear what the improvement has been doing 2 hours a day of learning. Massive difference. Awesome. Awesome. All right. So, SPY. Everything's up about 1% here in pre-market, right? SPY up 1.1% pre-market, QQQ up 0.7, IWM up 1.4%. Everything's looking pretty good besides Tesla. Tesla down 4.3% pre-market, missed on delivery expectations. Look where it's sitting at, right? We had multiple lows across the board here, right? With this nice wedge here. Lower this music a bit. Multiple lows across the board here, right? We had this nice reversal wedge, ended up, right? News took it out. Now, look where we're sitting at. Right, this 250 level, major level, obviously 250 psychological number, but also multiple resistances, right? Rejected once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. And this trend line here lines up pretty perfectly, right? If I go into the daily or the 2 hour, right? This trend line here, not the most perfect, obviously, but right, you know, it could draw it down here, could draw it here. Need to wait, but I like it here at the 250 level. If this can hold, maybe I'll consider that for a bounce play, but definitely need to be patient, wait for an opening range, and that's what I'll be looking at for Tesla. Nvidia, remove this line here. All right, Nvidia overall downtrend, sitting right within the range again, right? Need to wait for a push above this region here, right? The highs here, break of the pink trend line, and the break of the high here. We also have multiple rejections across the board, right, in this zone here. Right, so maybe it would be even better just to wait for a push over this 127 level. Right, previous support turned into resistance. So if this breaks out here, right? Most likely it's going to reject, come back down, retest, and then move back to the upside. Right? Happens all the time. If everyone could please drop a like on the video, I would really appreciate it. Please drop a like on the video. Thank you. AMD, right? All these charts are getting very tight. That's what we look for, right? We want to see consolidation and price action to get tighter. Right? That leads in the most explosive moves. Right? It's exactly what we look for. Right? Low 62.84. If that breaks below, right, puts can definitely work. We're in an overall downtrend, right? So if anything pops up to the upside, puts are great risk to reward, right? Because anytime we get a pop, right, just like this, we had a wedge or a reversal wedge, we popped to the upside, we rejected, right, that previous support as a new resistance, right? Bounced once, bounced twice, then acted as a resistance numerous times, right? People probably entered calls here and then it rejected and made new lows, right? This is what typically happens in a trend, right? So same thing can happen here, right? We got a pop to the upside, maybe even test 66, maybe test these highs here around 68. I'm not saying today, but this week, right? We reject and then make new lows, right? That's typically what happens when you're following the trend. Right, give me a thumbs up in the chat or yes or whatever if that makes sense to everyone. Get some activity in the chat. So Chris L asked, how do you avoid getting long on those false breakouts? There's no way to avoid it, right? You need to go into the trade with a plan, right? So going back to this, right, let's take a look at this quickly. All right, so let's say we're looking at this right here. All right, I would draw a trend line similar to this, and you make a plan, right? You identify your entry point, right? Let's say we enter, just for argument's sake, right? Let's say you enter here, and a stop loss here, right below the low, and price target is going to be this yellow box here. So this is the entry point. Let me change that to green. There's no way to avoid false breakouts, right? Because you don't know if it's a false breakout or not, right? The only way to do it is plan the trade, right? Like I always say, you need to plan it and you need to scale out in profits as the trade moves in your direction, right? So we have a stop loss zone, right? We have an entry zone and we have a price target, right? So let's hit play, see what happens. Right? It's fine that it's dipping below because we haven't even entered yet, right? It doesn't even matter. Or people will think the play is invalidated here, but it's not, right? If anything, this is even a better point to enter, right? Because you're at a quadruple bottom, right? Once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. This point right here is probably the best point to enter because, right, you enter here. And if it falls below, you just exit for a small loss. And now you have all this room to run up. Right? So now enter there, right? Starts to consolidate, old support or old resistance as a new support. Right? Consolidating. And breakout. And false breakout. Let's see what happens. Right, this is where patience comes in hand, and look, it just triggers basically, right? This is what always happens, right? You know how many people would get stopped out right here? We wouldn't get stopped out, right? Because it never broke the support, right? This is a liquidity pull, right? Trying to catch stop losses before it hits the price target every single time, right? That fake move to the downside before ripping to the upside hits the price target And there you go, right? Simple play happens every single time. That's why we create a plan, and that's why we set stop losses below the support, right? Because this probably went down 50% or so, but that's fine, right? As long as you're sizing correctly, you're going to be consistent. All right. And it hits the price target, right? This is when we scale out. And then it reverses. And then creates new lows, right? Typically, when something gets tested 4 or 5 times, it will break. Right? And then it drops down below and continues. All right. Whoops. Is the safest entry on a breakout retest break? On a breakout retest breakout, and if so, what would it look like? There's no really safest entry. Your safest entry would be if you have a plan, right? As I always say, draw out the play before you enter. If you don't, you're screwing yourself over and you're not going to win, or you're not going to be consistent, right? You always have to draw it out on the chart. If everyone could please drop a like on the video, I would really appreciate it. Amazon, definitely keeping an eye on today. Look at this chart here. We have a triple bottom, right? Higher lows, kind of had like a little dip before like a fake out before a potential run. Good morning, everyone. So I scale out as I approach my target. Is typically how I do it. All right, so Beef Brisket asked, how far below support or resistance do I set my stop loss? Right, I never actually set a stop loss. I just keep an eye on the level and I watch price action within that region, right? So let's say I take calls. Let's say I take calls here at the bottom, right? I'm looking for a potential bounce to the upside, right? And let's say we dip below, right? In this example, right, I'm going to have my stop loss below here. All right, let me draw that out first. All right, if I'm in calls looking for a bounce, I'm going to have my stop around this region. All right, so let's say we break to the downside, right? We test it, all right? We consolidate, and then we break below. I'm going to wait a few minutes to see if it's a false breakout, right? There's no specific amount of time I'm waiting. I would rather be patient and take a bigger loss than get faked out, right? It happens all the time. I'd watch for a higher low, right? So typically it will break down, create a higher low, and then bounce back up and then continue back up, right? This low here is then the new stop loss, right? Which is why I always size smaller than I think, right? Sizing is definitely very important when it comes to this. Right, so I always wait a few minutes because, right, false breakouts are always a thing. Apple not looking too hot here. Right, we still have this inverse head and shoulders, but it just keeps getting extended. Right, we had that wedge. Yeah, if we get a lower low, then I'm out, taking profits. Yeah, Apple does not look too good. Once it broke this low here, it was kind of toast, right? once this low broke, it just pushed down right to that next level of right here, right? Previous resistance, previous resistance, previous resistance, acted as a support, and here we are again, right? So if we do reverse, this is the level it's gonna reverse at. Song name is, let me pull it up. Let me know if the music's too loud also. I don't really know. Here's a song name, Poison Hydration. It's just like a stream beats thing that's not copyrighted. All right, so that's everything I'm looking at, really. QQQ actually definitely keeping an eye on. All right, so we're at a pretty major double bottom here. Right, previous resistance acted as support, and oh, some volume's good, sweet, thank you. We're at a pretty major double bottom here. Definitely gonna keep an eye on this. All right, set an alert at the low here. All right, if it does break the low, then keep an eye on that. But if we're gonna reverse anywhere, it's gonna be here. All right, and price action's definitely getting tighter and tighter. I'm gonna look for calls in this zone here. Right, double bottom. All right, this level is going to act as a resistance when we approach it, 272.03. And then once we break this high is when we should see a little push, right? We have a little gap to fill, and then we should test this zone here, right? Triple top. All right, this setup looks very good, honestly. On QQQ, definitely gonna keep an eye on this week. See what happens today. What else? Anyone have any other questions? A correlation between ES and S? Yeah, I mean, they're the same thing, Raf. This is just the future of the S&P 500, right? Same exact thing. No problem, Chris. Yeah, this is basically everything I'm watching. Let's take a look at the pre-market action. All right, so this is actually pretty interesting, right? So nice bounce off of the lows in post-market on Friday after hours, and now we're pushing up. Right? This definitely might break out today. You need to keep an eye on it. I don't trade with these on, by the way, right? I'm just looking at it for the stream. Good morning, everyone. If everyone could please drop a like on the video, I'd appreciate it. 10 minutes to market open. No, I don't always wait 15 minutes, but it's definitely a good idea. Right, first few minutes is definitely pretty hectic. Do you search for setups every night the night before? Yep, I chart every night. If you're not charting every day, then you're not going to get better. Right, you need to chart every day. You need to observe price action every day. You need to look at it every day. Right, you need to be obsessed. Is there a thing such as undertrading? No. What's the reason first few minutes are so hectic? Yeah, overnight orders being filled, right? Banks, hedge funds, all those firms entering and exiting their positions, right? Weekend news, and just all the open orders that are looking to get filled. Right, that's when they do it in the beginning. That's when there's the most volume. Right, and then it starts to die out. Right. Also, the Europe session is open. Right, that's why lunchtime is volume's lower, and then typically the last hour of the day volume picks up. Right, people are getting their closing orders in, right, for the next day. And then the last 10 minutes of the day is usually pretty hectic. Let's take a look at VIX. We didn't really look at VIX. Let's delete this chart. I always like to start clear slate. Right, so take a look at this. Right, one high here, rejected twice, rejected again. Right, we broke through, now we pulled down. Right, looking for, this is a potential retest, right? Right, and now we have multiple bottoms across the board. Was a previous resistance. Right, so definitely gonna watch this today. Right, if this pulls down to this region and we break through, right, bullish for the market. If I make an alert, at what point is it not safe to enter? So if I send an alert out, right, definitely don't just follow anything blindly, because then you're not going to learn. Right, as always, make a plan around your chart. Right, you can use my alerts as guidance, see what I'm buying and selling. But if you're following something blindly, you're never going to learn. Right, what I would do is I would take a look at when I alert and what I alert. Right, write it. Let's say I alert right, let's go over this quickly. 5 minutes to market open. All right, let's say I alert like SPY 3, SPY 365 call, right? At that point, right, I would look at the chart and see why I'm buying at that level, right? Do my own due diligence, take a look at why I'm buying here, and just understand the chart, right? Anytime I send an alert out, go to the chart and try and plan the trade like that, as if I would do, right? Every single time I look at or I take a position, I already have my position drawn out. All right, I always have the 3 boxes, right? The entry, the price target, and the stop loss. That's what I would do. That's the best way you're going to learn. That's the best way you're going to learn how to trade on your own. And that's obviously all of our intentions, to let you guys and make you be able to be a self-sufficient trader. That's exactly what I would do. I have no idea what the Fed's talking about later. I can't believe Tesla now down, missed on expectations. Yeah, it's always about risk to reward, right? If there's a good risk to reward, we're going to take the trade, because that's what trading is about, right? If you can risk $100 to potentially make 500, I'll take that every single time. Guys, trades move fast. If you can't catch a trade, just move on to the next one. It's fine if you miss a trade, right? If you miss a trade and then you have the feeling of that you missed out, you gotta fix that emotionally, mentally, whatever it is. You're going to miss trades. You're not gonna get every single play that works out, right? You know, FOMO is a real thing, and that's definitely something that you need to work on if you're having that feeling of missing out. But on that note, let's switch over to the Discord. Appreciate everyone stopping by as always. I will be on the Discord in voice chat. Countdown starts today. Might not take any trades on it, and I will see you there. Have a good one, guys.